Yep.
Alrighty, so here we go on the countdown. 3, 2, 1, record.
And recording.
And we're recording.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite. Okay, so are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Are my audio levels all right? I moved my microphone a little bit further back.
No, you sound good. I'm gonna grab my water for the intro.
It's a good thing you got to where you can cut all this out easy now, Shin.
I know, right?
All right, we're good?
Yeah, we're good. Let's do this.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to That Pixel Life. This is episode number 45 for March 26th, 2019. This week, we're going to cover some news regarding Apple's new gaming service, the rumor that is swiftly becoming reality of the new Switch hotness that sounds like it's going to hit around E3. We're going to talk to Robbie about Sekiro and see if shadows do in fact die twice. I know Shannon's been playing some stuff on the Switch as well, but why don't we just jump right into it? I am Zach Anderson, and with me is Mr. Shannon Moore.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, kicking tires, lighting fires, the usual.
It's good. It's good. I feel like I just talked to you on Friday.
Yeah, it's been quick. And also on that conversation on Friday was Mr. Robbie Stoltenpool.
What's up, guys?
What's up, dude?
Not much, man. It's been one of those. It's just been one of those busy weeks, and it's only Tuesday.
Seems like lately they've all just been one of those busy weeks.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to freaking graduate. Like I will never bash seminary. I've enjoyed my time, but I'm just ready to be done.
What's the countdown?
I have, pending I continue my amazing streak of all A's. I will graduate this summer.
Nice.
I have 3 classes left after this semester, and one of them I'm going to take in 1 week, and then the other 2 I'll take over the course of the summer. So
nice.
My advice for you and all students out there: remember, C's get degrees. C's get degrees.
It's true.
But why don't you head over to thatpixellife.com for more from us, including any leaks, such as our Twitter account, which is thatpixellife. The handle is @thatpixellife for show updates, which I resurrected this week. We are alive. We are back on Twitter.
Zach, your video's gone.
Is my video gone?
No, on my side.
Oh, talk again, Zach.
I'm here.
There we go. It was just gone for a second for some reason. That might be my connection. My bad.
Just good thing that I didn't drop out there. Anyway, okay. You can subscribe on YouTube to watch the live unedited streams where you can see things that Shannon cut out, like what just happened. Best place to talk to us, though, is get up on our Facebook group, and we chat about gaming industry with like-minded individuals. It's usually a fun time, fun conversations. We do have a Patreon. If you'd like to throw us $1 or $2 to help keep the lights on, we would definitely appreciate that. And on the website, you can find links for the show to any device or service you might be so inclined to use. Outside of that, that's all the housekeeping I got. Should we just jump right into the news? Are we good with that?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, whenever you're done, I've got 2 stories to add to it. But yes, let's do it.
Well, the first one was, Apple has dropped this. It was their big TV announcement, which was kind of like Apple getting into the Netflix, Hulu type game where they're talking about their content that they're creating for their service. It's going to be called TV Plus. It's going to be an app that you don't necessarily need a you don't need a I'm blanking on that. You don't need an Apple TV or anything to use. Like it's one of those things you can just put it on your phone or whatever and use it. Now they're still having some issues where it looks like video game consoles like PlayStation, Xbox, etc. aren't having the standalone app yet, which is a bummer because I know a lot of people that use their console as their like home theater service. So it'll be interesting to see if how that comes along. The other announcement that worked in with that was Apple Arcade. Now, when I first heard about this, I was thinking like, great, more iOS games. That's awesome. Yeah, like what I don't know. Like, I mean, I do play my fair share of Xbox but iOS games, but I mean, it's not like they're a high-powered gaming platform. But as it comes to pass, the Apple has kind of partnered with Sega and Konami and Disney and Cartoon Network and another to create 100 exclusive games, at least 100, sorry, exclusive games that will become part of the service. And with additional games being added all the time, they're supposed to be bigger gaming experiences than the traditional handheld game. And taking a shot at Google Stadia, during their announcement, they said these games will be downloadable, so you don't necessarily have to be signed in to play them, and it will not stream from the cloud. Do you guys have any initial thoughts on this? Because I think this is interesting.
Mm-hmm. I have plenty of thoughts.
Lay it up, Shannon.
The thing that jumps out, especially with these services, is if you're going to throw it all out there and let us know what we're getting with the service, it would also be nice if you could give us a price for your service. Like, I mean, I understand that this is still something new. You're still kind of ironing out the details, but come on, like, you got to give the people who are interested in this, especially your early adopters, you got to let them know ahead of time kind of what they're setting themselves up for. Another thing is the whole the one thing I like about it, I should say, is that it's kind of like a continual play experience. So like if you're playing on your computer at home and you're going to go out, you could just pause the game wherever you're at, pick up your iPhone, and then you like just start playing right from where you left off. Like it's seamless. Like, so if you're a mobile gamer, or if you're like mobile in the sense that like you're on the go like throughout the day, but you still want a game, this is probably one of those services that you're going to be drawn to because it's almost a seamless experience. So I liked that aspect of it. The one thing that concerned me was the type of games, right? Because they're keeping everything still pretty close to the vest, and they're saying you have all these new games coming out. They're all proprietary to the Apple platform, so they're not going to be shared across platforms on for other services, which is fine. But at the same time, what types of games? Like, what's the quality of these games? Because the iOS has this standard of a game that's like, it's good to play in small chunks, or it's good to play when you're taking a poop, it's good to play when you're in line at the DMV and you don't want to strangle somebody. But like, they're not games that have like appeal to where you want to sit down and play with them for multiple hours on end. So it was kind of concerning to hear that they were going to go with new properties instead of trying to port over some old ones.
Well, they are porting over some, like that. They did confirm. Now, I think these are new games though, but they did confirm like Sonic Racing is coming to there. The sequel for Oceanhorn, which is very much just Zelda, but they're making another one for this. Lego Brawls, which is apparently like a Lego fighter, is supposed to come to the service. And then I know, and Sakaguchi is supposedly making an RPG for it as well, called Fantasian.
So it's going to be like a Final Fantasy knockoff.
Yeah, exactly. But which I find very kind of funny, because Microsoft did the same thing when they were like, "Oh, we need an RPG. Hey, you can make one for us." But the one thing I think is important to note that we haven't yet, though, is they did come out and say all of these games will have free updates, and DLC will be included with the games once they're playable, and the games will be free of ads and microtransactions, which
is a big deal.
That's a very big deal, because that is something the iOS store has become known for. Even paid games now have ads, which is ridiculous. And so I think that's a huge step forward as far as I'm concerned, as far as legitimizing themselves as a gaming platform.
I think I'm just. I know that all of them are coming, and I know that I'm going to sound like the old man on the porch, but I'm really just tired of more and more video streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just tired. Like, I'm not going to pay for this. Like, the only new one that's coming around that my wife and I are even considering talking about is the Disney one, and that's just because it's going to have, theoretically, I guess, every Disney movie ever. And even the ones in the vault, and they're going to be having Star Wars content on there. Like, how could I not say yes to that?
Yeah, and also just as a parent, I mean, yeah. Give me access to every single Disney movie. Sure.
Yeah, it shows you how selfish I am. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Well, all I have to say is I'm really glad that these these services are available, so that, with net neutrality being repealed and everything like that, I can not have to worry about Comcast raking me over the coals with the package I want, and now I can just go out and piecemeal my my projects together. So it's like, now it's going to be Apple TV Plus and HBO Go and all these other services that I'm going to be paying up the yin yang for. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how all that plays out.
But I think it's interesting now that gaming is also getting into that same thing. It's like Game Pass was the first shot across the bow with Microsoft, and then now you're seeing Apple going after a piece of that pie, or Apple. That's weird, but sure. And then and also Google trying to throw their hat in the ring. Every service, including Nintendo now, has the pay us a monthly fee and we'll throw you some games. I mean, and people forget that PS Now is a thing, but it absolutely is, and it works pretty much like Game Pass does these days. So it's just interesting to see. I'll be very interested to see, as this moves into the next generation, how much more prevalent all of these things become.
Oh, I think it's going to be rampant. Like, I think this is what people are going to try to push now. I think this is going to be like that new, like, the way it's all going to go, I think. But let me ask you this question, since the price hasn't come out yet. If you were going to jump on this service, what would be the ceiling for you to buy in? Like, what would be too much for you guys to buy in, and what would be like that sweet spot, with the
$7 to $10?
Yeah,
would be as high as I'm going.
I'm kind of with Robbie. Anything more than $9.99 and I'm out.
So that's for the TV and the games, or just the arcade?
Just the arcade.
Well, I have no interest in the arcade at this moment. Like just being real, I have no interest. Like, it's kind of like, if Nintendo told me they're going to come out with a story-based game. Like, yeah, right. I'll believe when I see it. But
they're coming out with a first-person shooter.
Yeah, bull crap. Yeah. Whatever. I don't want to shoot shells at people. So the gaming service I'm not of interest, because again, I don't care about playing a game on my phone. Like, I don't play games on my phone. So like, I'm not the clientele for this. But the movie or TV service, of course, I'll pay attention to it. But like, I was just thinking about this while we were having this conversation. Like, I'm paying for Hulu. I'm paying for Netflix. I'm paying for DC Universe. I'm paying for Comixology Unlimited. I'm paying for Funimation. But I mean, Funimation's like $4 a month. So like that's the cheapest of all of them. But like, that stuff adds up. And
it adds up real quick too.
Yeah. And it's part of the reason why Lisa and I like I don't collect comics anymore. So I can have Comixology and read them,
Sure.
But anyway, that's beside the point. This is fine. This is cool. Like, more hats in the ring is a good thing if it pushes competition. But if Apple's going to come up in here and give me like Ridge Racer Apple, like, I don't freaking care about that.
Well, I think really what it boils down to is just, regardless of what service we're talking about, TV, gaming, whatever, it's content. Do you have something I want to watch, or do you have something I want to play? then I'm probably paying you for it. If you don't, then I won't. It's kind of that simple. I mean, I'll be honest, I barely touched my Netflix account if I wasn't playing something for my kids until Umbrella Academy came out. And then I watched the whole thing in 3 days. And it was just like, okay, that was worth that money that month to me because I found a show I liked and watched it. Now, yeah, I'm right there with you, Robbie. Like Sonic Racing doesn't do anything for me. Oceanhorn doesn't do anything for me. But let's say this Final Fantasy knockoff RPG is actually super sweet with a really cool battle system and it's a 50-hour long game that I can play over the course of a month on my phone. Okay, sure, I might be interested. Like that might do it. But it's going to have to be a game or two. It's like any console, like any system. Like there's got to have to be something for me to play on it before I'm interested in it. But even then, I still say that more than $9.99 a month, and I'm probably out. Mm-hmm. Even at that point.
Now, do you think this is a stronger competitor than Stadia? I mean, do you think that? I mean, in the scale of things, which would you be more inclined to partake in first?
Now, just because of where I live and the broadband available to me, I'm way more apt to go to Stadia. Just because it's games I like and became games I'll play and I can stream it and it will work. I've done it in my house with Google Stream and it was just fine, Mm-hmm. Now, but as people on a whole, I think that the Apple gaming service is probably the better service for 2019, where Stadia is the better service for like 2025. Just as broadband standards become better nationwide and, net neutrality and all that, like being able to download and install a game is still huge right now.
Heck yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so that's kind of my thought on that. I mean, what do you think, Shannon?
I don't know. I mean, I just, as much as I want it to succeed, I don't think of nothing. I just kind of get like that discount feeling when I think of like the Apple gaming market right now. It's kind of like I said, it's a good game to play when you're bored. But if I have another option to play that has something else, I'll play that instead. So, as long as they spend time in development and they come out of the gate with some good games that people want to play, I'm all for supporting them. But yeah, I think right now I would go with Stadia just because, like you said, there's more of those games that you want to play on it.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where I'm at right now. But we'll see. We'll see. We might be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, well, I hope we're all surprised. But one thing that wasn't surprising, as I segue to the next story, is we got a Wall Street Journal report came out this week that made it sound like it was inevitable that Nintendo around E3 time this year is going to announce not one, but 2 new Nintendo Switch models coming down the pipe. And it's interesting because it seems to be that Nintendo learned some lessons from the 3DS. As we all remember, the 3DS launched very unsuccessfully. They quickly remade and redesigned it and re-released it and had much better success because it was a much prettier package. Now, as time went with the 3DS, it split into 2 things. There was the 2DS, which did not fold in half, and the wedge, as we love to call it. And it also did not have 3D. And the new 3DS and 3DS XL, which had way better 3D, more horsepower, better form factor, but also cost more money. And it seems to be that Nintendo took the lessons they learned with the 3DS and are now applying them to the Switch with preparing to release one model that is going to be similar to the 2DS in the more kid-proof, sturdier, potentially not dockable. That's a rumor, but it wouldn't really make sense to me if that was the case. But I could see a model where the Joy-Cons didn't come off, making it more of a Vita. And also supposed to not have the rumble, and then the other model is a more high end, better horsepower, better battery life, all that fun stuff that people have been asking for about the Nintendo Switch. I'm first off, for me, this makes a ton of sense. I absolutely could see myself buying a cheap model Vita style Switch for my kid, whereas I would never buy him one that I have currently. Like I just would never give him that. But if this one is, a shatterproof screen and pieces don't come off it and so on and so forth, then yeah, we could talk about that when Pokemon comes around, but I don't know. Do you guys think it's too soon for a new Switch model? Do you think it's warranted to throw one out there that has beefier engines and all that stuff? Or
I think that an upgrade is definitely needed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and when I say upgrade, I don't mean like, oh, I don't need a game that is going to be as powerful as a PS4 or a system that's going to be as powerful as PS4, but I need a system that's going to last longer than 2.5 hours based on what I'm playing. Also, I'm going to keep saying it till they freaking give it to me. Let me use my Bluetooth headphones on my freaking Switch.
Yeah.
Like, again, the fact that my Vita can do that really bothers me. And look, they have to, and I know this may be more of a network issue than a hardware issue, but can we please just have something to where we can do voice chat through the Switch?
Right.
Like, again, I could do that with my Vita. It's just so disappointing. But this is a good thing if either one of them gives longer battery life. I don't really need it to dock. So if there's a dockless one, like, it'll save me a little bit of money. Like if they tell me, hey, $150 to $200 for one that has longer battery life, and we took the rumbles out of the controllers, like I'll buy that. I'll buy that in a heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I actually kind of agree with you. If the model is dockable, because there are still times that I play on the TV, like I own a Pro controller.
Mm-hmm.
If the Joy-Cons stay attached, they don't rumble, it's dockable, but my game use time jumps from 2.5 hours to 5 hours, I'll probably buy that one because my kid can play with that one. I can take it. I don't care about the rumble in the slightest. I mean, it was the 3D rumble was the thing where you did that demo the first time and went, that's really cool. There's like 3 ice cubes in that glass. Okay, so I'm done with that. Like there was just nothing to that really, other than being like, that was kind of neat. So it's just I don't know.
You're not. I mean, no, you're not wrong. I mean, it was that easy.
Yeah.
It's just the one thing that's a bummer is even with the one that they're touting as like the more horsepower one, it still has less horsepower than like the standard PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, I think. So, I mean, I know that's a lot to ask for like a handheld console to like squeeze that much in there, but get it close. I mean, it just seems like Nintendo's really sticking to that. Like we're not in competition with PlayStation 4 and Xbox,
but they're not though. And
I know they're not, but it's just like I want to see. I want Nintendo to succeed, but I want them to kind of get further along in the technological aspect of things with their new hardware.
But I don't think that would happen until you got a proper Switch 2 or whatever the next thing is. Just because at this point you wouldn't want to split the base that much. Like when they came out and they rolled out the last new 3DS, I want to say it was damn near twice as powerful as the original 3DS, but all that meant is it ran games faster. Like hardly anything came out that took advantage of that. And it's because they just really wouldn't want to split that user base in that way. And I mean, you know what? If it gives me better load times and just runs things a little quicker, frame rate wise, great. Like that works for me. I mean, you're talking about Nintendo games that all like, with the exception of N64, which was of an era, like NES games still look good, Super Nintendo games still look good, GameCube games still look great, like because they just have a very stylized look to them all. And so as long as they can make that run cleanly, it's like sure. But I mean, it also makes a ton of sense to me as we approach holiday. with a kid-friendly, like Amazon has their Fire Kid tablets for like $80 or whatever that have the big padding and all that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like if they can release a kid-friendly Switch, I mean, you've got Luigi's Mansion coming out, Pokemon, like we said, Animal Crossing supposed to come out this year. Was it the Link remake? Isn't that Link's Awakening remake coming out this year supposedly? And like that's a murderer's row for 10-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like that's just like there isn't a game in that list like a parent would not buy for a 10-year-old. So why not? Why not just roll out there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're in the business to make money. You know what I mean? Not keep us nerds happy.
But. No, I get it. I just thought that Wall Street Journal article was pretty funny too, because they were like, like they're predicting that the Nintendo Switch is going to lose is going to decline in sales over the next 2 years from like I forget what the number was. It was like 2.7 million to like 2.5 million over like a year or something like that. And I was like, well, still 2.5 million units. You're still bringing in a lot of revenue there. So
you're like, I'm not good on my mathematical skills, but that sounds a lot like 5.1 million units in 2 years. I don't know. Like, sounds all right.
Yeah. I'm not complaining with that number.
Yeah.
What did their Wii sell? Or the Wii U sell? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think didn't they pass the lifetime sales of the Wii U in the first year of the Switch?
Oh, something like that. I want to say it was like the first month.
Yeah. I mean, shit. Who bought that damn thing? I mean, it was such a disaster.
I did.
I'm sorry.
I am too.
You were the one.
You can hear it in your voice too.
I know. Just the disappointment just dripping from Robbie.
Well, and I was excited. I was excited for it because I had never played Wind Waker.
Mm-hmm.
So like when Wind Waker came out on the Wii U, which by the way that needs to come out on the Switch like tomorrow, because again it will just sell.
Didn't it come out on the Switch? Am I wrong? Oh, hold on. Doing a quick talk amongst yourselves. Doing a quick Google.
All right, no, just the Wii U sucks. It doesn't matter.
They'll release sooner or later. Like whenever there's like a slow period where they need to generate some revenue, they'll release another Zelda game. It'll be fine.
Apparently they did not. I apologize. You were right.
It's weird though that they haven't.
That is. I mean, well,
they're too busy porting all those Final Fantasy games over right now.
Yeah.
Which I don't need another port of that game.
I mean, I don't think we ever talked about them announcing the Link's Awakening remake. Did you guys ever play that one on the GameCube? Or no, Game Boy Color?
I didn't. I'm excited for the remake because I did not play that game.
Now, see, I'm usually anti-remake, and if you've listened to the show long enough, you know that. But if you're going to do it, this is a way to do it. Like, take a game that, I mean, Link's Awakening is a total cult classic, and I remember playing it 25 years ago at this point, and
man,
and
sounds like you're old.
Dude, so fucking old, man. It's so sad. Anyway, and I remember loving it, but I don't really remember it at all because, who keeps a Game Boy Color? And I know, stop it. Don't send me the Twitter. I know you have a Game Boy Color. Just you don't need to send it to me now. And, but like, it's not just like they took that ROM and released it to play on the Switch. No, they completely redid it. New graphics, new gameplay, new all that stuff. Like, new engine, all that. Like, that's the way you make a remake. Like, yeah, give me that. Yeah, like that's great. Like keep doing that type of stuff.
It looks incredible, like just from the short trailer that we got. And I mean, I'm stoked to play it because, like I said, I never played the original. So to play something like that is just so revered and so, beautiful. Like I'm gonna play the crap out of that junk, man.
I mean, I can probably safely say right now I'm gonna like it a hell of a lot more than Breath of the Wild, but so. I feel pretty good about that.
Don't be that guy.
I don't be what guy? The guy that likes good games and doesn't like to be bored.
I guess I forgot that you felt this way. we just need to move on.
Oh, what? You don't want to have this conversation?
No, because like Wow, like I'm
Yeah.
shocked. I did
think
not know this.
You must have blocked it from memory because I was not a fan. I was not a fan of Breath of the Wild at all. I mean,
Like at all. Like that's strong. Like at all.
yeah, good art direction. I'll put it that way. I think I very good art direction when you got to where you could actually do something. It was a lot of fun. It just, man, it took a long time to do stuff. That's all.
All right, well, moving on because this is awkward. Like I can cut the tension with a knife here, and I would like to move on, please.
Yeah.
Speaking of cutting things with knives, Robbie, how about you talk to me about some Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice?
All right. First of all, your name is not Sekiro. Your name is the Wolf, or the Shinobi. So I haven't really figured out what Sekiro means yet.
Is this secretly a Shinobi game? I just got way more interested.
Well, you are a Shinobi, so maybe.
Do eagles randomly attack you and kill you?
No, but chickens do.
Oh wait, that was Ninja Gaiden. Sorry, chickens. Wait, chickens attack?
There's a giant fucking rooster, legion of them throughout the game that will just f you up. They're like the game. They're like the game. They're like the enemies in Bloodborne, or in any Souls game, where you can kill them really quickly. But if you miss your chance to kill them at the beginning, they will f you up.
Kind of like the werewolves in Bloodborne.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
These beautiful bastards from Software, like they're like, yeah, here's our great new game. Yep, roosters. That's what we're going for. Let's do this.
Well, it's funny because this is one of the first times, like almost all the up to this point, all the enemies have seemed human. Like they've been human based. Like they have shields, they have armor, like, and then all of a sudden, like I came across an ogre that that was strapped, that I had to fight, which was a pain in the freaking butt. And I don't know how many times I died, but it was a lot. And then all of a sudden I came across a rooster. And I'd seen Twitter, and I had seen some people say, I just got my butt kicked by a rooster. And I vowed that I was not going to be that guy. And I have yet to be that guy, so I appreciate that. But then all of a sudden I get to this like pen. It was basically a chicken coop that I did not realize was a chicken coop until I got in. And then
it was like Jurassic Park 3, where all of a sudden they realize they're in the aviary.
Yeah, and then there was like 7 of them around me, and thank God I had upgraded an ability and got this like swirling tornado hit, and I just killed all of them. So it was awesome. So I've yet to be killed by a chicken. That's all I care about.
Yeah, you're swirling tornado of special spices and seasonings.
That's right.
Got some flour out there. Just
shake and bake. Shake and bake. You gotta shake it before you bake it. So all right. So Sekiro is another game from the From Software people. I'm just going to say this right off the bat. If you are not a fan of Bloodborne or the Souls games, stay away from this game because you're going to hate this even more. Do not waste your money. Let me also say, this is the hardest Souls game yet. Like, straight up. It's the hardest game. You are this shinobi, which is essentially like a ninja mixed with a samurai. I know that is probably not accurate description, but that is how I'm describing it. So get off me. They have you are tasked with protecting this young prince, and then something happens at the beginning of the game that sends you on a journey to get the prince back. I'm not going to spoil anything in the game. And then something occurs that gives you a tool that it's a grappling hook, and it's incredible. And I never knew that I wanted a grappling hook in a Souls game, but I do. I want one forever now. So
that kind of happens every time a game gives you a grappling hook in it, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah. Where's this grappling hook been my whole life?
Yeah, it's like in BioShock Infinite whenever you got the sky hook. Like
yeah, exactly.
And let me just point out, it's 2019. That game came out 6 years ago. Why hasn't there been any other game with a sky hook? Right. Like, or hey, why hasn't anyone taken advantage of the Nemesis system from Shadow Mordor? But anyway, I digress.
Crackdown 3. But anyway,
yeah. Okay, so this game is a Souls game, as far as its combat and as far as its like paths, and they don't really tell you a lot. But I will say this game tells you more than any other Souls game combined, probably. Like, there is a tutorial area, Zach. They have a tutorial area.
Really?
Yes.
That is the biggest change I've ever heard.
Yes, and then they give you button prompts for, hey, this is how you hang off a ledge every time. Like, I'm several hours in the game and it still says, hey, press square to hang off the ledge, or hey, press X to or press a button to do this. Like, they continue to prompt you, and they coddle you, and they make you feel like you're loved, and they're like, hey, we know that we've kind of treated you poorly in the past. We know that, you've hated our games, you've broken controllers because of our game, and here it is. We're going to give you support. We're going to give you tutorials. We're going to give you explanations. We're going to give you guides.
So they basically made figuring out how to play the game not part of the game anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, to a degree.
All right.
And you know what? Guess what we're also going to do, guys? You know how y'all complain about this all the time? We're taking out the online component. So now no douchebag can come into your game and F you up and take your stuff.
All right.
And also, you can press pause. You can pause the game, folks.
Oh, that's actually huge.
That is huge. You can pause
so many times where, like in Dark Souls 3 specifically, where if I could, like in the middle of a boss fight, like, okay, I just saw the pattern. I just need to think about it for a second. Like, I just need to think about,
especially in the White Castle area, like everything was lit up. So it was because enemies were so fast. Oh, yes, I agree with you. But they're like, they like comfort you. Like, they want to give you a big teddy bear hug. And then all of a sudden, as that teddy bear is hugging you, the alien from Aliens comes out of that teddy bear's stomach and rips your fucking heart out. And it makes you realize, gotcha, bitch. And they're like, hey, we got you. We got you. We're going to trick you. We've tricked you. This game is harder. The combat is harder. You have to block. You have to dodge harder. You have to basically play a freaking dance anytime you're going to fight a boss. Oh, hey, that ogre that you see that moves really slow? Well, guess what? If he grabs you one time, he insta-kills you. Because guess what? F you. Like, that's what this game does. It just says F you along the way. And you know what I'm doing? I'm saying, thank you, sir. May I have another? Every step of the freaking way. And I'm enjoying every second of it. But so back to a better description of the game. You are going from level to level. You're trying to level up. And there is no souls this time.
Oh, interesting.
There's no blood vials to accrue. You basically you level up your character, and you get skill points every time you level, a point per skill.
Okay.
And then you get to go into this the skill tree, and you get to give yourself a new attack, a new ability, a new way to dodge, a new attack with your prosthetics. And the prosthetics is basically this. It's the best way to put it for former Souls fans. Okay, so what basically they played a game in their head and they're like, what if we took the shield arm or the gun arm from Bloodborne and we let them rotate different things and abilities in that other arm? And so that's what they've done here. Like right now, just example, my prosthetics are a shuriken that I can throw, a flamethrower that I can launch some flames right in front of me, or an axe that will break shields.
That sounds like they just went to the spice cabinet and grabbed the Kojima shaker and just went right across their formula.
Yeah, and look, and then the traversal is so much fun. The combat is fun, but it's hard. Like the only game I can really correlate this to is the Ninja Gaiden game on Xbox.
Like, was that Ninja Gaiden Black or whatever?
And what I mean by that is just the difficulty and how you have to be very precise in how you play. You have to pay attention. Like, the deflection thing is really cool, but like you have to block. Like you can't just do like you've done in past Souls games where you just roll around.
Roll.
And look, I'm still into the game, and I'm getting dominated by this general here because I still am in this mindset like, okay, I can just roll away from him. Mm-hmm. No, mother effer, you've got to block, you've got to deflect, and because you only have a sword, and right now I still only have that sword, and I don't know if it's going to change or if it'll upgrade later. I'll get there eventually, but I say all that because I want to describe it, and I've done it in jest, and I hope you've enjoyed that. But my opinion of the game is that it's awesome. It is still just so rewarding. Like
does it feel like an evolution of the From Software style?
Yes, in the traversal, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
In just the simple things like letting you pause the game, or hey, let's explain some of this stuff. Like I told you guys off air, and I'll tell this really quickly, but they don't explain everything, or if they do it very quickly and then they move on. So every time you kill an enemy, like a little gold bag or gold coins will float around the corpse of the guy that you just killed. And I was like, man, how do I pick this up? Guys, I played freaking 7 hours of this game, not knowing what to do with those coins or those bags. And then just about about an hour ago, I realized I just went online and looked it up. All I have to do is hold down square, and it like sucks it all up into my person. And so I realized, oh my gosh, I've been playing this game at a deficit, like with a deficit this whole time. And the game has changed for me because now I can upgrade and now I can buy more things to use as weapons. I think it is an evolution, Zach, but here's where people will disagree with me. There are people who will not like this combat. There are people who will not like it and not find it fun. But I think that it's just it is now the next step in what they want to do. They're saying, okay, well, look, this has been fun. This time of not knowing what stuff is and how things are used, because like they give you a description of almost how every item you pick up, it almost tells you everything that it does. And so things. You don't have to freaking go to Google and look it up or find some dark internet website to find out what a freaking essence of oil does. Like it explains it to you. And that's awesome. And so they have learned. And we can pause. And we don't have to have online components because people just really like playing this game on their own.
So there also is no hint system either, because people would leave hints for you or like.
Dude, but that's no. There is, and this is even they even evolved. They evolved here. So what you do, because what the game really wants you to do is they want you to sneak around like a freaking ninja. And with you sneaking around, you can eavesdrop on people's conversations. Okay. And through those conversations is how they give you hints on how to kill certain enemies. Like
interesting.
Like I wouldn't have known how to kill the ogre if I hadn't eavesdropped on these guys telling me to use fire. Okay. And then whenever I realized, okay, well, I don't have any weapon for fire, I had to go. I went back to the main hub, and the hub is the same. Like there's a creepy guy who does this, there's a creepy girl who does this, there's a creepy guy who does that. But like, I won't lie, I've already had to use Google twice. Like I had to say, okay, how do I get fire, or how do I shoot fire in this game? And then it gave me a place to go. And then I was like, okay, well, that makes sense.
Now, is it the same thing like the Souls or Bloodborne's, where that's one of my favorite parts about those games was how, say the Lothran wall in Dark Souls 3, right? Okay. Where when you start, you can see the tower that you end up at, at and you can open gates and stuff and backtrack to your camp and all that stuff. Like you get shortcuts and pathways that open up as you go through so you don't have to like grind all the way back every single time or all the way out there every single time. Is it similar in that regard, or?
Yes, but light. The light version, because what they've done here is they've put idols. There's idols all over the place, and idols are,
and those are the fires, basically.
Yeah, but here here what they've done, and I think this is very smart too. Like, hold on, I'll walk up to an idol right now. At an idol, you can rest, which if you rest, it replenishes all of your health and whatever continual resources that refill every time. I can purchase spirit emblems, which is basically my artillery for my shurikens. It's basically your meter. Like I'm buying more meter for my side weapon. I can travel. I can travel to other idols, and that's something that is different because you couldn't do that. Could you do that with the campfires?
Yeah, you could do that with campfires.
Okay. Yeah. But also here I can acquire skills. Like I can at any campfire or at any and then also enhance physical attributes. But I have to have the right resources to do so.
Sure.
So
it's not like 3 where you had to go like back to the blacksmith that was at the one place, so that like to get a new skill set or new weapon or things like that.
Yeah, but what I was trying to get at is like there's a lot of them, like especially early on. There's a lot of these idols, and so but there has been some like doors that I've gone to like, oh, it can't open this way. So eventually it's going to start labyrinthing up like hardcore. I really do think this game, like I said, it's like a freaking teddy bear from hell. Like they try to prepare you and get you ready and let you see what the game really is. And then it's just like, let's just F you up. Because
I liked the chasing Amy diagram. That was nice.
I have faced 3 mini bosses, and they have F'd me up each time. But something else, and they have done this in the previous games where, this is a little different. So they're little mini bosses. I haven't faced a boss yet, per se, that, like there's a cinematic and things stop and, you focus on that one guy. But I have faced mini bosses, and what they do is they give you a meter, their health bar, and then they give you they show you how many times you've got to kill it. How many times you got a death blow or kill. And so yeah, like that. At the end of the day, if you are a fan of the Souls games, if you're a fan of Bloodborne, like you will love this game. I think besides Bloodborne, I think this is the fastest the combat has been. I'm
kind of into that.
Me too.
I like that.
I thought Dark Souls 3 did that a little bit, but go on. I'm sorry.
Oh, the last question I had about the game that I kind of wanted to explore. So the thing about the Souls games, specifically Bloodborne and 3, for me anyway, was I loved the worlds of both of them.
Yes.
Like Dark Souls 3 with the Lords of Cinder stuff, like I would read that book. Like if they would just write down all that lore in a book, I would read the F out of it. Like I could not get enough of that world. Like I just ate that whole thing up. And same with Bloodborne. Like how, just the hunters and what that meant and who these people were and like the city of Yawgmoth and like all that stuff and how it gets all trippy and Lovecraftian and all, like, yeah, great, let's do this. Like I want that book. Give that to me. And it's a thing that kept me playing both games when they got essentially too hard for me. Is I kept trying to throw myself at it to get to the next story beat, basically, more than anything. How is the lore in this game?
Very, very engrossing. Like because my character speaks. My character has my character has a voice. Finally, he's not just a lifeless avatar. There's people who know me, and I don't know why. And like they start you off like you have a relationship with this prince. Like, he knows you. You've had adventures together, obviously. And as you're going through the world, like first of all, the aesthetic of the game is freaking gorgeous. Like the game, like I took a screenshot of just the sun in the background, and there's a tower, and there's like these. I know they're not wheat, but the wheat plants like looking things that you're just walking through or whatever. Like it's freaking gorgeous. I will say this though, like I'm someone who I don't read a lot about it, but I've always been very interested by feudal Japan. Like I find that era and that time period just like really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so the fact that they've bought into it as much as they have, except for the giant chickens, it does seem like it's very interesting. Like I just came across a freaking village, or no, I'm sorry. I just came across, I had to turn in these beads to a Buddha statue, and it sent me back in time and sent me to an event that occurred in this area that I had to replay and relive through. Like, so like they definitely want you to care about this world and know about this world. So I'm sorry, that's a long-winded answer for yes.
All right, sweet. I'm very excited to pick this one up. Just the schedule has not allowed me to as of right now, but I'm very excited to get to Sekiro Shadows Die Twice.
I'm just so freaking glad this game came out because like I was going stir crazy. Like I've enjoyed Final Fantasy IX. Like I have nothing to bash or negative to say about it, but like I wanted a single player AAA experience.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
But all right, that's enough for what have you guys been playing?
Well, Shannon is going to be talking about the antithesis of what this game is, I believe, because last time I checked, he was saying what was this? Assault Android Cactus? Did you just have like a stroke and were writing random words? Like, what is this?
No, it's a game that I saw on the Switch that I wanted to. I was in the same spot Robbie was. I just wanted something different to play. And I was waiting for the Division 2 to come out. And at the time, Anthem was having so many problems, like as far as bricking people's consoles, or that's what the rumor was anyway, that I picked this up for the Switch. It's a top-down twin stick shooter, and it's got a cartoony look to it. It's a little different from other twin stick shooters that have been around in the sense that you don't have like a life bar. What you have essentially is you're an android, so you have a battery. And you go around the level, a small room, shooting the enemies that drop down or crawl out of walls. And if you get hit, you lose. If you get hit like 3 times, you basically get knocked over, and then you have to get back up by hitting the fire button, and then you can continue running around the room shooting. You lose your power-ups when you get knocked on your butt, so it kind of gives you like this uphill battle when you're when you do get knocked over. But all in all, it's pretty fun. It's quick paced. You can make it through a bunch of levels relatively fast. Then there's a lot of levels, and after basically every level, you unlock a new character that you can play that has a different ability, has a different weapon. So it gives you a little bit of variety when you're fighting the levels. The one thing that gets difficult are the bosses. The bosses are pretty challenging. It just seems like they ramp up the bullet speed and the tracking on the bosses. So you do die a lot more on those encounters. But I'm having fun with it. It's a good like no-brainer when I'm tired of getting blasted in the Division. I haven't beaten it yet, but it keeps my interest. It's very fast, very well put together. The load times aren't bad. And like I said, there's a lot of variety with the different characters that you can choose. So it's good. It's $14.99, and I would suggest if you like those types of games, pick it up. The only complaint I have about the game is usually when you on a twin stick shooter, one button moves you around and the other one points your direction, and usually they map auto fire to the joystick as well. So you can just worry about moving around and firing.
Yeah, the old Smash TV model.
Yeah, this one you actually have to hold down R2 to fire. So that can be a little annoying after a little bit because I'm playing with the Joy-Cons, in handheld mode. Okay. I think if I might have been on a Pro controller, that might have been a little bit more ergonomically friendly to my hands.
Sure.
But yeah, that's the only thing that got really annoying, and even then, that's not a really big gripe. So if you like those shoot 'em ups, those twin stick shooters, go for it.
All right, Sounds good. Well, I really haven't been playing much this week. I went back in time though, and with the movie coming out soon, I broke out Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah,
because I had picked it up, but I never actually beat it. And to be honest, I forgot pretty much everything about it. But I had one of those moments of like, wait, I own that. Wait, right? Don't I own that, right? And so I went and dusted off the 3DS and plugged it in, charged it up, booted it up, and sure enough, it was sitting right there. And started it up again, and that's a damn charming game. Like it's fun, man. It's basically, I mean, it's kind of like Pokemon Phoenix Wright in a lot of ways. Like you are going around solving the dumb cases, like a bunch of APOMs stole a necklace off a lady, and you got to try to figure out where they went and which APOM took it and that sort of thing. But like each thing you do takes you just a little step closer to solving the mystery of where this guy's dad went 2 months ago. And it's one of those things, like you go through, you build out, you pick out the clues. The Pikachu will point out things for you to investigate. You investigate them, you write them down in your journal. The Pikachu then can talk to other Pokemon to help you give clues. And sometimes you got to do things like, find a berry for this one Pokemon so it'll talk to you, or like scare away these Pidgeys so this thing will talk to you, or dumb stuff like that. But it's engrossing in a really weird way. Like you kind of find yourself being like, no, I can totally get this necklace. Let's figure this out. Like and it becomes like this thing where you're like, all of a sudden I'm like, halfway through my lunch break, totally into figuring out where this Ekans hid this apple. Like it's a random thing, but it got me. So my plan is I've got to say I've probably put like 4 or 5 hours into it, and it feels like I'm about halfway done. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to finish it this week on my lunch breaks. But if you can find it on sale or something, or you still have your 3DS active and using, it's great. Like it's one of those things, like they've got to bring this to the Switch when the movie comes out. They just have to, I would think.
So there's a story to this game? Like
yeah. It's I mean, it sounds like kind of like the story of the movie in a sense, where this kid I think it's Tim. Tim's dad was a police officer, and he's gone missing in Rhyme City, and it's been a while, and he's kind of forlorn and comes across this Pikachu that he can understand for some reason, and as it goes along, you kind of are piecing together why he can hear him and vice versa, and also where Tim's dad went. And so, but it's like piecing it together and through these little vignettes, in the sense, these little stories. And it's very much like Phoenix Wright in that regard, where the big crime happens, but you have to like go through the court case of all these little crimes to get to the big crime, and so
sounds like a Zelda game. You gotta get the small thing to get the big thing.
Yep, you gotta go get the boomerang to get the hook shot, and yeah, totally.
You gotta get the fish to get the cat, to get the cat, to get the bomb bag, to get the bomb bag, to get the bombs, to get the bombs, to get into the temple. Like just.
Yep, it's pretty much the same formula, but done more of a Phoenix Wright type style.
That's cool.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Like it's totally engrossing. Like I'm into it. It's fun, and I mean, it's a cool world. It's done up in more of like a Let's Go Pikachu style, I would say, like art direction. But it's also kind of fun because, like, in most Pokemon games, you're this kick-ass trainer battling other kick-ass trainers, and like this guy is totally inept when it comes to Pokemon. Like no, the Pokemon don't listen to him. He doesn't know how to deal with any of them. Like the Pikachu just like tells him off all the time. It's pretty good in that regard. And it's also kind of fun because it like lays out some relationships of how people use Pokemon that have nothing to do with battles or anything like that. It's just in this world, Pokemon exist and they all fill a role that for people in certain ways. So it's kind of fun to see like how certain things play out in that regard. It's like, oh yeah, if I had a thing that could just make water, I would probably do this, like, sure, why not? So, but yeah, I think if you've got a 3DS laying around, it's absolutely worth the money. I also could see people holding out to play this on Switch, but it's definitely worth playing regardless. So that's all I've been playing. Now, if we're gonna go veer into a little off topicness. I know I've been dying to venture into Robbie's movie corner since he's still, I live vicariously through Robbie since he still goes to the movie theater. I miss those days. Going on vacation this weekend, and a highlight of my trip to Vegas is I'm going to go see Captain Marvel because I haven't had any time to actually go see this movie, and I'm going to Las Vegas, and my plan is I'm going to go find a movie theater to watch Captain Marvel. That just tells you about me and movies these days. But anyway, I know Robbie has seen Us, and I've been dying to hear about it.
Yes. There were two other stories that I was going to talk about, but I forgot what they were. But it doesn't matter. Okay.
Cool story, bro.
So first off, actually, let me get Shazam out of the way.
Oh yes. Also want to hear about this.
So I had a chance to go see Shazam 2 or 3 weeks early in my hometown or in my town, and so Lisa and I and a couple friend of ours went and saw it, and like it's not even a question, it's not even a doubt, it's not even up for debate. And if you see this movie and you don't agree, don't at me because I don't want to talk to you. This is the best DC movie. And I'm not talking about Batman. I'm not talking about Dark Knight. I'm talking about the DCEU. This is the best DC movie. I think Aquaman had elements that were really good and really fun. I think Wonder Woman was a lot of fun and got a lot right. But the third act of that movie is kind of just CGI mess. And this movie embraces a hero, shows us the strength of a hero, shows us how he becomes a hero. It has incredibly heartfelt moments, has awesome fighting, has awesome visuals. The villain is not amazing, but he's thought out and he's well developed and he makes sense. And it's not just, hey, I'm going to take over the world. Like it's something that you start off, actually, the movie starts off with the villain and you find out why he is the way he is. It is big with superpowers. And that is exactly what I wanted from Shazam, because that is exactly what Shazam is in the comics. And if you are a fan of the comics, there are so many little references to the comic, which is so awesome and so cool. And it's a lot of fun. And they poke a lot of fun at the DC universe. And there is a cameo in there that I wasn't expecting that I thoroughly enjoyed. And there was literally a moment in this movie towards the end that made me clap because I was so excited because I nerded because it was a comic fanboy moment that and look, there were people in that movie who, and because I talked to some people after the movie, none of them knew what Shazam was or who he was in the comic. They just thought it looked fun and it looked like a good time. And so many people walked out with big smiles on their face. And that is something that even as someone who defends Man of Steel, who defends Batman and Justice League, Batman vs Superman and Justice League to a degree, I never saw people walk out with huge smiles on their faces. Mm-hmm. And this was that. And so I cannot wait for people to see this movie. Like the mainstream people see this movie. It's awesome.
Sweet.
Zachary Levi was made to play this role. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, like in the trailers. I remember seeing that trailer for the first time, being like, "Oh, that's just the perfect casting." Like that was just so perfect.
Like for me, the whole time I thought Joe Manganiello would have been the perfect casting for that.
Okay, I can see that. I can totally see that.
And also speaking of Joe Manganiello, he's awesome, but he's also older and he plays D&D and he's also playing Deathstroke, so we don't need him to play that role. There were a lot of questions going into this about whether that suit he's wearing is super padded or not. Mm-hmm. You can tell there are certain scenes where you can tell it is not padding. Like you can see his tricep actually flex in the suit. So like the shoulders up top may have a little padding, but for the most part, like his arms, those are his arms.
Boy got ripped, huh?
Yeah, yes, he did. But Us. Are y'all? I know Shannon's not because he's a scary cat, but Zach, do you like horror movies at all?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Now see, my whole thing. Just give you a quick primer. Is I burned myself out on them real bad, like because it was one of those things. Like in high school, I managed a Blockbuster Video, and me and my friends, it was like the thing we do every weekend is like rent a couple of horror movies and watch them every weekend, and it was just. By the time I hit like 25, I just couldn't. No movie even bothered me anymore, other than like, movies like The Others or something where I'd be like, oh, that's cool, like but it would be like not like, oh my god,
I can't believe you just made an Others reference. Like that's awesome. I have not seen that movie in years, man. Okay, so I love horror movies. My wife thinks I'm a walking paradox as I'm in seminary learning about the Bible and theology, but yet my favorite films are possession films. Sure. She just thinks that's super weird. But anyway, so Us is the follow-up to Jordan Peele's directorial debut of Get Out. If you were a fan of Get Out, if you're a fan of Get Out for the clever writing and the clever, like the way the story is told, then yes, you're going to appreciate Us. If you're looking for something that was an uncomfortable kind of thriller, that's not what you're coming here for. This is a true hack and slash thriller.
Okay.
That makes you feel uncomfortable and is uneasy. Like I didn't jump at all, but I did. Like I was tense. Like I didn't know where the enemy was coming from.
Gotcha.
And I think Jordan Peele is just. First of all, I don't think horror needed saving. I think there have been incredibly great horror films in the last 5 to 6 years. The Conjuring films, Annabelle Creation, The Witch, It Comes at Night. These are all awesome horror films that have a Quiet Place. Like these are all awesome horror films that have occurred over the last few years.
I can deep dive with The Witch on you. That movie, that was one of the first ones I've seen in a long time where I'm like, dude, that movie. Holy crap. Like,
yes. Like I own it. And my pastor, I had to hide it because my pastor came to visit one night and I was like, man, I know I'm a cat because he likes horror movies too.
Yeah.
But there are certain horror movies that I probably shouldn't have on display for other youth to see.
Yeah. Like Hereditary. Hereditary is one of those.
Yeah, Hereditary, another one. Like so people are going a little extreme with the way they describe this movie, like it's saving horror. Horror didn't need saving. Horror's been great. Like what we need is new comedies. We need comedies to be saved because comedy is just in such a weird spot. And I have an awesome theory about comedies that we can talk about at a later time that I think you'll find really interesting, Zach. But anyway, so this movie takes place. You follow a family who is going on a vacation to Santa Cruz, I think. Yeah, Santa Cruz. Does Santa Cruz have a beach?
Yep. Yeah. Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk, man.
Yes, that's exactly where the movie takes place. Is on the boardwalk and in Santa Cruz. And all of a sudden, this family that looks exactly like them show up, and then all hell breaks loose. So it's incredibly thrilling. The acting is second to none. Lupito, I always forget her last, or I always forget her. Yes. She probably should be nominated for an Oscar for acting in this role because every person you see in this movie plays a second role, but her specifically, like she was just off the chain, amazing acting. Winston Duke, who plays M'Baku in Black Panther, my favorite character from Black Panther, M'Baku. He is the most dad joke, corny dad there is, and he plays it to the T, and it's awesome and it's hilarious. This movie is funny. Like it is funny, but it also is creepy and like weird. However,
but it is a horror movie though, because like I didn't find Get Out to be a horror movie.
I didn't think it was a horror movie either. I think it was a situational thriller.
Yeah, it was more of a thriller than it was a horror movie. But.
I think this has horror elements to it. I think this is way more of a horror movie than Get Out. Okay. Okay, I'm stealing this from Mark Bernardin. I don't know if you know who that is. He does Fat Man on Batman with Kevin Smith. He used to write for the LA. He used to write for LA Times. I'm going to steal this from him because I feel the exact same way he does. The first half of this movie is one of the best break-in thrillers ever made. Then the second half of the film begins where Jordan Peele feels the need to explain everything or give a metaphor for everything.
Gotcha.
And I don't think it lands. I don't think it hits. Like, I've seen some 9.5s and 10s on this ranking. So some people just appreciate ambiguity way more than I do, and that's perfectly fine. I love the movie. I'm gonna go see it again next week because I want to see what other people are seeing, because I do love this movie because just from a thriller standpoint or a horror movie standpoint. But as far as narrative, I don't think it hits the way he wanted it to, and there are so many freaking plot holes that there just are, and some have defended it by saying, "Oh, that's the point. Like, he purposely did that." Well, if he purposely did that, then I'm not a fan of that, because I think purposeful plot holes are stupid. And if we're gonna not, here's the thing: if we're not gonna ream Jordan Peele for plot holes, then we can't ream Zack Snyder for plot holes in Sucker Punch. Does that make sense? Like, what I mean is that we can't set a standard of plot holes are not acceptable, and then just because we like Jordan Peele say, "Oh, it's okay, buddy," like, you still made a great movie. And so that's just kind of the problem that I had walking away. And I'm not the only one. I had some other friends, and we were just talking about, like, man, why did he do this? And Mark Bernard even said it, like, sometimes I don't need an explanation of why bad things are happening. Sure. Sometimes just bad things happen. But I don't think you can experience Us to the perfect level unless you see it in theater, because the sound and the music in the film is perfection. And I think that's really important for horror films, is sound effects and music, especially if you go watch The Witch.
Yes.
Again, or The Conjuring. Like, these films use music in a perfect way. And also, what was really cool was seeing Jordan Peele's inspirations throughout the film. Like, you knew where he got this from. You knew the nod that he got this from. Like, there's a reason. I'm just going to say this. There's a reason why this guy is being allowed to reboot Twilight Zone, and it's because this guy knows horror inside and out.
Cool.
So,
I mean, it's definitely on my list. I know I'll probably have to wait until it's on home before I get a chance to see it. But
I mean, Lisa didn't go see it with me. She wouldn't.
Yeah.
Creepy kids, man. She doesn't do creepy kids.
And you got her to see Annabelle? Oh, okay.
Dude, my wife just doesn't really see any scary movies with me at all. She watched It Comes at Night, and she watched A Quiet Place. And
It Comes at Night was good. I like that.
Dude, I love that movie.
The Swedish movie that it's based off of is pretty sweet.
The end of that movie, and the realization of the question, and that's that's a freaking great example of what I'm talking about. With It Comes at Night, the end of the movie, it makes you question whether there were whether there were actually monsters out there or not, or there, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes you question that. In this film, you're not asking why, you're asking how. Like, you're asking how this works. And I don't think you should be asking that when you walk out.
Gotcha. That was I always hate it when a movie will do a twist and it either doesn't land or, like, invalidates everything you've just watched. You know, like, it's such a bummer. Like The Village was one of those. Shyamalan,
Man, the first half of The Village is so good.
I still say the best twist. By the way, if you haven't seen The Village, spoilers, but I mean, come on.
The movie's like 10 years old.
Yeah. The best twist possible for that movie would have been for the monsters to be real. Not the modern day thing when she is out in the forest and that one's there and it turns out to be the dude that had, like, stolen the suit and chased her. If that had been, like, a real ass monster that, like, either helped her or guided her along or something like that, like, that would have been such a better ambiguous twist to to that story than what they did.
I mean, M. Night Shyamalan's career prior to recent events, his career ended halfway through The Village when he made because if you look at it, like Signs is a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sixth Sense is a great movie. Unbreakable arguably is one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to make freaking Devil, Lady in the Water, freaking The Happening.
God, Lady in the Water was so bad.
Avatar. But then he made The Visit, which was really underrated. If you have not watched The Visit, go watch it.
That's the one with the grandparents, right?
Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
That twist I did not see.
The devil. The problem with the devil was I called it 10 minutes into the movie. I'm like, oh, there it is.
The problem with the devil is nothing that happens in that elevator can happen.
Well, there's that too. as a resident elevator repairman will tell you. It's like, did you ever see the John Cusack movie Identity?
Yes, that movie was awesome. I love that movie.
Oh, see, I thought that movie was such a bummer.
Really?
Yeah, because it was one of the, it's one of those things, and I hate that my brain is wired this way. I figured out the twist maybe 20 minutes into the movie. Like, I was just like, oh, this is how it's going to end. And then was watching the whole movie praying it didn't end that way. And then had the thought of like, oh, but it would be way cooler if instead of that, it was this. And then spent the rest of the movie hoping it was what I wanted instead of how it was going to end.
Yeah.
And so it didn't happen. And I was really bummed. With Identity, I thought it would have been, again, spoilers. I thought it would have been really cool if the whole time, like, it was all in the dude's head, but like the people dying were one of his senses as he was getting killed by lethal injection or something. Like, it would have been like chunks of his brain dying as he died. Like, I was like, oh, that'll be super rad if that happens. Oh no, it's just, oh, okay, it's the multiple personnel. Oh, never mind.
I wish they'd go back to letting John Cusack do horror films.
What was the Stephen King one? Room
1409.
Yeah, that was actually pretty good.
Hey, guys, yeah. I have to go. All right. So I think the baby just fell, so
okay.
I need to go.
Bye. Okay. Well, we will wrap it up then.
Pretty much, like, Robbie's corner is empty.
All right. Well, you can go ahead and lop that section out then. Okay, so that ends Robbie's movie corner a little abruptly. Robbie had to run and take care of a kid really fast, but I think that's pretty much all we had this week. Shannon, do you got anything else you want to jump in there?
No, I'm just mourning the loss of your manly beard.
Why did you have to bring it up?
Well, because I noticed that Robbie's got his beard going on. It's nice and bushy. I got my beard going on, and like,
it's very nice.
You're over there, and you're just the clean shaven, like, got that youthful face going on.
See, yeah. Well, on the plus side, it did take like 10 years off of me. Getting rid of all the gray hair off my face, but but yeah, I did the thing where I only had X amount of time to clean up before going out on Saturday, and I can trim a beard freehand without a guard. I'll just clean this up real fast, and winded up going right to the skin right here on my chin, and looked at it for like 20 seconds, going, "Is there any way I can fix this? Is there? No, I'm just going to take it all off." So it all got lopped off. And then it's been 5 years or so since I've been shorn. So I feel I'm going to rock it for a little bit until the playoffs start, and then I'll let it grow back for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
I like it. Good.
But yeah, that's been my big event this week, is I lost my beard, and it was very sad. But all right, I guess that's it, huh?
Yeah, we'll let the people go. I mean, they got the Too Fast, Too Furious episode this week, and they'll get this magical episode, and we'll be back next week, right? Yeah.
I think we're recording next Tuesday. I'm going to be out of town this weekend on the Vegas adventure, but we were recording next Tuesday, so look for it next Thursday or so, about a week after this one hits or whatever. And in the meantime, follow us on Twitter. We can get at this at That Pixel Life. Make sure you get in that Facebook group. We got some iTunes reviews recently, and I really appreciate that. Those are very, very valuable, and if you want to get in on that action and leave us an iTunes review, I do appreciate it. In the meantime, have a great week.
Bye, guys.
Stop that.